former Air Chief Marshal Bhaldoria, Chief of Defence Staff General Chauhan, Tarini Rawat, Manjit Negi, very distinguished professionals, senior generals here present, and also of the yesteryears with which some of whom I had the pleasure of working. It's a very special day. It's a very special day, not only for all of us who are in this room, but also for the country. Today is a day when we commemorate a great son of this nation, a person who was the first, not only the first Chief of the Defence Staff, but an icon, but a symbol of something that we considered as a symbol of perfection in soldiering. He was born on this day 66 years back. It is a very sad thing that we had to part, the death had to part him from us. Otherwise, he had many great ideas, and he probably had much more energy and ideas and thoughts and vision, which still he could have contributed a lot. So in a way, it's a sad day. At the same time, it's also a day for us to remember and thank him for all that he did for the nation. I'm happy that much is being done to commemorate his memory. Formation of this foundation is a very good initiative. I do hope that it will achieve the objective of keeping his memory alive, which is important. But also what is important is what is that we can contribute through this foundation in building up our national capabilities. General Chauhan spoke about the changes that are coming in the military thinking, about the changing pattern of the conflicts, about the new frontiers of the technologies and international relations, supply chains, the economies, which are all going to affect the strategic scenario. They are all very important, and we are all at this stage. This is not a platform, and of course, it's not a place for me to tell about the strategic or the strategic issues. But I'd like to share a very small thought with you. And the small thought is, why do we fight the wars? Is it to grab the territory? I'm talking in today's context. Is it to kill the people? What is the purpose and objective? It is actually we fight the wars to bring peace on our terms. And what is the most important ingredient of a nation that adds to his power? What is that we want to break the enemies? How do we bring him to agree to peace on our terms? We break his willpower. An army or the defense forces are one of the major instruments through which the willpower of the enemy is broken. Through coercive methods, and besides coercive methods, there can be other methods as well. Now, for building up this coercive capability, they have got to equip themselves, they have to have trained themselves, they have to professionalize themselves, they have got to anticipate these things. But the branding of the nation, most important thing is that if we want to break the will of the enemy, and if we want to break the will of our own people, the national will, it is extremely important that we are strong, we have got confidence in ourselves, and we have got the icons who have served the country and have done very well for that. I see General Rawat and his legacy, now that he is not here, whether we can leverage that for building up the national will, for creating his brand, his image as an inspirational brand for the people, for the citizens of this country, for the soldiers of this country, for the people in this arrangement where he worked, and everyone. This country needs these icons. We are short of them. Somehow we didn't have this tradition of building up these images. We thought that these cult figures is probably not a very good this thing. We believe something which is much more ephemeral, something which is more abstract, rather than something which is more tangible. Heroes for the country are essential for the national will of any country, for the existence of any country. Now that this foundation is being formed, what is there that it can contribute? Well, it can only be a thing that, well, you will have lectures, you will have some discussions, you will have seminars on his death anniversary or on his birthday anniversary or others. Or is there something that they can contribute in building the national will? What is there that they can do and contribute? You have got a whole army of people who are not only for serving, but who are out of their service. You mentioned about the Agniveer scheme. We soon will have a large number of youth who have been trained and who have had the experience of having worked with these forces. They are going to come in the society, and not in this way, but they're coming in a couple of years. We'll have them in lakhs. They will be young, they will be trained, they will not only be physically and mentally competent persons, but they're also going to become important members of the society. Can that become a major resource for building up the national will? Can they go to the villages, they can go to the civil administration, they can go into the various government jobs, some of them will go into the private sector, probably they will all imbibe in the society. And they can build with them and they can carry with them a message of what the patriotism is, what the nation stands for, what the nation's armed forces are meant for, create that great awareness of the consciousness of the national security. Can there be some district that this foundation can think of, that it can work as an effective NGO, which provides the guidance and the inspiration and the future mark ahead for the Agniveers, or the Agniveers who come out of the army? Because ex-servicemen, etc., probably they are looked after the way that they are. In any case, they have got a predictable career. These people, these youth, this human resource will have an unpredictable career ahead. If they can be given the guidance, if they can be done the counseling, if they can be this thing by the veterans, probably we can all convert them into a great workforce that could be of a great assistance to them. Besides that, I think there can be many other new ideas that can be thought of. You know, last week I was in Israel, and of course we were talking about the Israel wars and others. So, during my discussion, of course, not with the Prime Minister Netanyahu and others, but besides that, when I was talking to the professionals of my districts, their chiefs of various services and others, I told them, is there any lesson for us to take? And it was a very interesting comment that their NSA made. He said, you should be prepared for a surprise. But then he added, he said, if you are prepared, then it's not a surprise. So he said that all the past conflicts, Ukraine was surprised what Russia did, but Russia was surprised what had happened to it. But then after that, I think even both of them were surprised about each other. Nobody knows where they're heading for. Probably Russia thought initially that it would be a cakewalk. It wasn't. But Ukraine thought that with so much of sanctions and the global pressure and all this, the Russians can be tamed and others, but that didn't happen. How do we prepare? If I say that there is a thing for a surprise, for something that will happen to you that you cannot think of. Who is prepared for that? Only a people with a certain mindset are prepared for that. And you have to inculcate that habit. Who can take spot decisions in real time? If you have got the capacity to take the spot, to real this thing, whatever the consequences might be, and whatever explanations and answers you have got to give it to this thing, you will be able to face the surprise. It cannot be predicted, so you cannot always be prepared. And since you will not be prepared, the first thought that comes to your mind, if you are prepared mentally and you have trained yourself mind, and if you are totally a professional this thing, you will find that it's your gut feeling. It's your instinct that matters, and that instinct is not something which is non-scientific. It's a highly scientific thing that comes with a tremendous amount of in-depth study, in-depth experience, in-depth vision, a lot of this thing. That sort of instinct will have to be developed amongst our leaders. And the leadership of the defense forces, which is the most important decision, who have to take the decisions on the spot, the quick decisions. How can we develop that sort of an instinctive decision for us? And those decisions sometimes are not very big. You are even confused whether I should put my pen on this table or the other table. Sometimes you feel, should I use my right hand to keep it in this thing, and you want to put the right paper in the waste paper basket, and you actually put it on the table, and the important paper goes on the other side. You get into this thing unless you cultivate those mental faculties. Be decisive, be very clear-headed. Always, never remain in a state of confusion. Now, we were thinking that whether we can think of having some special type of in collaboration with some of the psychologists, some of the advanced studies that are being done about the leadership qualities and the decision making. Whether this foundation could have a institutional mechanism where they hold some sort of specialized lectures and the courses for the serving officers or for the people at large, even this thing, that we are able to build up the capabilities for having and doing the research on that. We have got to understand first how the Indian mind makes the decisions. Is there a need to change on that? Is the first thought that comes, first thing that comes to your mind is the consequence? Or is the first thing that comes to your mind is the cost of a decision? Or is the first thing that comes to your mind is the object? What is your priority? All are important. All have to be considered. But what is the pecking order for that? Now that is what decides that we would like to have the for this thing. And that is the legacy. And I had very close contact and association with General Rawat as an army chief, and later as a CDS, and also as a army commander in southern district, and later when he was a short period of time that he was working with other things. He was one person who could take decisions, and who could take not only a decision, but he could carry out the decisions taken. As I said, this is not a place where I should be talking about the professional things and others, but I can cite a large number of examples where he took very bold decisions. He took decisions, he helped us of telling, आप लोग decision लिए, हम लोग इसको implement करेंगे. He never was in two minds. You know what we say in Sanskrit, Shanshayat Naha Vinashaya. Never been the doubt. Be clear-headed, be have with this thing. And we had General Rawat. That is a great legacy, and I think we all should learn from him, and we will continue this thing. But I wish this foundation a very great success. I am grateful to Air Chief Marshal Bhadoria and Manjeet and all others who are the office bearers of that. I saw their list. I wish them a wonderful time, and I do hope I will watch with considerable interest the progress of this foundation. And if I can do anything to contribute, please feel free. If some ideas can become, let it not become an occasion only that we hold it and then we forget about it. Let us see whether we can do something productive. Bearing his name is okay, but building the nation is something that will make his soul very happy. Thank you very much all.